What's up guys, the again here, and if you guys have been keeping up with my Road to Diamond series, you would have noticed that I just recently ended the series because I did in fact finally reach Diamond in Duel, and I said at the end of the video I would make a bit of a guide or maybe give you guys some tips on how I actually got to Diamond and what really helped me out, because I actually got to Diamond pretty quickly after following these tips. There was a little while where I was actually not doing too well in Duel, but then I started following these tips and I started doing a lot better in Duel, and in fact it actually became kind of easy, a lot of the matchups and a lot of the games I played. So I'm going to share these tips with you guys so you can hopefully have as much success as I have in Duel. Now in Smite currently there are 80 playable gods, 79 if you don't include Izanami, and of course a new god comes out about every single month. But even though Smite has this many gods, only about 25 to 30 of them are actually consistently competitive in Duel. Now remove 6 of them, which is the amount of gods that are banned in Duel, and you're looking at your god pool now. Now out of those remaining gods, I found the most success picking up 3 of those gods and trying to get those gods as good as I can, and then picking up a 4th god as well, either a weaker god or a god who's probably going to be banned every game, so you're looking at either like Hou-Yi, Chronos, Kali, gods like that who get banned quite a bit. Pick up maybe one of those, and I look at those as my main gods. So my god pool, for example, included Erlang Shen as my main god, of course, then also a Susano, an Osiris, and a Raven, and I was pretty able to control a lot of matchups. They all had their strengths, they had their weaknesses, but all of them could do pretty well in Duel. Of course, Erlang Shen and Susano being a bit stronger than Osiris and Raven, who tend to have some weaker matchups that they have to be very careful around. But Erlang Shen, I pretty much picked every single game he wasn't banned, unless I was really feeling like I wanted to play something else and I just couldn't really play him. So it just really depends on the situation, but yeah, you would want your main god to be who you're going to play almost every single game if he's not banned, and you think you can win most matchups with that god. And then your secondary god, pretty much you just pick him up if he's not banned. And then, of course, the third one, I would just pick if Susano and Erlang Shen were banned, or I just didn't feel like playing Susano, honestly. I would pick up Osiris. And then the fourth god, really just a flavor pick. Maybe if you're playing against the same guy a few times, he starts banning your gods, you could pull this thing out. Or if you're really feeling like you just want to have some fun and destroy some people with a god who's not so popular, or a god who is overly popular and you don't see too much in games, and maybe get a 1v1 with like a Kali v Kali or a Hou-Yi v Hou-Yi, which tends to happen if they're not banned. So it really just depends on the situation, but like I said, you want to make sure that your first god is super strong and you're going to be able to play him in most of your games. So that was tip 1. Now going into tip 2, this one kind of leads from that one. So I would say tip 2 is to always ban your counters. So there are a few gods in Duel that are banned almost every single game, and a lot of people do this blindly without actually looking at the god that they plan on playing, because I played a lot of Erlang Shen, and you could get away with not banning certain gods, so you could ban gods that might be a bit more terrifying to play against as Erlang Shen instead. And I think a lot of people actually overlook this, and they'll just blindly ban Hou-Yi, Kali, Chronos, even though they could actually have a good matchup against these gods with their specific god. So as an example from my personal experience, I never ban Scotty or Hou-Yi when I'm playing Erlang Shen because I really just don't have problems playing against them. I've played against quite a few Hou-Yis, I've played against a few Scotties, just never had any difficulties with them. And I know a lot of people blindly ban those gods, but they actually have some counters that you can actually play with and not have too hard of a time. And the god that you're playing doesn't even have to be a counter to the god that you're not going to ban. I mean, it could also just be a matchup you're comfortable with and you're not too sure about another god who may have just come out and you want to ban him instead. You may be better off just doing that and just trying to play through this matchup, even if it is a bit more difficult. And talking about things getting difficult, I'm going to go to my third tip, and that is to always remember to take breaks. I don't know how many times I just randomly started losing and not playing as well as I had been earlier just because I was a bit fatigued or I was a bit too late at night. It just really depends on what's going on in your life. You always want to make sure that you have your mind where you want it to be whenever you're playing Duel. Because although Duel does have a lot to do with god matchups, at the end of the day, it's still you versus someone else, and the person who's on top of the game and has the most focus into the game probably will do a bit better at the end of the day. So remember, if you start feeling a bit fatigued or you start losing a few games in a row, just make sure to take a break, make sure to just maybe go for a walk or maybe go to sleep, take a nap, just do whatever it takes so you can feel a lot better when you start playing once again in some 1v1. This next tip is a pretty simple one, and that's not to forget about jungle camps. I can't even count the amount of times where I've been first blooded, but then ended up being at a level or even 2 levels ahead quite instantly because I don't forget about jungle buffs. I steal their jungle buff and they don't even contest. There's so many times people will forget about jungle buffs, and I know certain gods are better at securing them. Like if you get a Wrath on like Erlang Shen or something, you're not going to be able to really contest them that easily for jungle buffs, but still, you need to remember to continue to get yours and maybe get there on time or something if they do have a Wrath to steal it away, or maybe just force them back to base before you go for a buff. But it's really important to get these buffs because they're going to allow you to get ahead in terms terms of XP and gold, which in the grand scheme of things is really what you need to do if you want to win fights. Even in matchups where you probably won't be able to win too many fights, you can still win if you're able to get these camps, get ahead, maybe go for a Bull Demon King a bit earlier on in the game, and then start getting some tower damage. Things like that, they're all very important and really key components to what it takes to win a duel match. And talking about Bull Demon King, getting it early on in the game from my experience actually isn't that bad of an idea. I know a lot of people avoid this because they want to go for the tower and then pick it up so they can have the instant power spike and then maybe end the game a bit quicker, but honestly, if you can get it early and then just take out the tower early game, it's not actually that bad of an idea. You're going to have full control of the camps, they're going to be forced back usually because they're going to end up being behind in most cases if you're getting that Bull Demon King. So if you have a god that can burn it down quickly and or you have a Wrath, you could probably get that early and actually be in a really good spot, and then just wait for a Bull Demon King if you have to go for the Phoenix. So always be aware of that, because like I said, a lot of people tend to not go for it just because they want that instant power spike, when in my experience it's not actually that bad to get early on in the game. And now for my last tip. This is probably something you guys heard before, not only just for Smite, but for other games if you want to get better at a game. And that's not to give up as early. I know surrendering in Duel is very tempting, and a lot of people do it, and there's nothing wrong with surrendering, but I found the most success at not surrendering, as not only did I win a lot of games because people didn't know how to end them out, but I also learned a lot and got a lot of experience from just playing in long games. And this experience is incredibly important because not only do you learn the big things like Bull Demon King spawn and stuff like that, but you also learn about the little details about not only your god, but also other gods, so you'll know how to deal with them in the future and how to deal with them in the later stages of the game. And personally, I think this is one of the most effective ways to learn and get better at playing Duel. Of course, there are more things you can do to improve yourself in Duel, such as getting better mechanically with your god, learning how to play against certain gods, as well as learning how to build against them. But following these 5 tips, I will guarantee that you'll see some improvement in your play, because it really helped me out just playing games longer, honestly. If there's one tip I would give you, it was playing games longer. You'll definitely learn how to play better and learn how to play against certain gods and get better at Duel overall. So anyway, guys, I wanted to thank you for watching this and following me on the journey to Diamonds. It was a lot of fun and I had a great time doing it, and maybe next year I'll do it again, and maybe actually I could end up doing a Conquest one. I'm not quite sure right now, but I'm thinking that that may be in the future. So anyway, guys, thank you for watching, and please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.